joue contre joue.
A meeting with Mr. Warburg?
Yes, ma'am. My name is George Orwell. I'm here to discuss a possible book publishing.
I'm not waiting here all day. Come in.
Orwell. George Orwell. I've come to inquire about a book publishing, and I really think you'll want to be a part of this.
Okay. Please have a seat. Listen, I understand you're nervous. I would be too. Coming to my office knowing that the stern old Frederick Warburg is your last chance to get your book published. Ah yes, I heard about you. I mean, how could I not have? A man with books so controversial that he's been denied by every publishing firm in England. Pretty impressive if you ask me. So, what makes the book so special? What is it called?
Well, I've put much thought into Animal Farm.
Actually, if you don't mind, what did you do before you wrote the book?
Oh, well, okay. I was actually in the military.
Fighting in the Spanish Civil War, it gave me a lot of time to simply think. I formed most of my political beliefs and concepts there. Wouldn't be the man I am now without serving.
Wow, that's really interesting. I've heard you were very against Stalin's totalitarianism. Risky opinion in a time like this. I assume this is why you're having trouble finding a publisher?
You're exactly right. The whole theme of Animal Farm is leadership and corruption, more specifically how the two go hand in hand. For example, once Mr. Jones is gone, Napoleon and Snowball take control. This leadership is good at first.
However, Napoleon begins to disagree with Snowball's ideas, and he wants complete power. Napoleon takes over Manor Farm and oppresses the animal. What begins as a government to end animal inequality and suffrage becomes something much more complex and corrupt when Napoleon takes on human ideas. The theme connects to real life because gaining that much power cannot be done without corrupting the people below you.
I love the amount of thought that you put into your writing. It is truly a modern fable. Now, Mr. Orwell, these are all chosen by me because I think they'll sell. How do I know they'll sell? The characters grab the reader and stick with them. Without characters, where would the book be? Anyways, fire away.
What I think will make this book stick is the symbolism included in the story. Easy enough for simple people to pick up on, but risky enough to keep people talking. I do most of the symbolism through characters. They all represent a real person or group of people involved in the Russian Revolution. Perhaps my favorite two characters, Clover and Boxer, two horses, represent innocent and ordinary people who were betrayed by their government.
Boxer was encouraged to overwork himself, and once he grew weak, he was sold off to be slaughtered and made into glue. Clover has always questioned to herself how Napoleon's new rules make sense. She knows what he does is wrong, but her naivety is taken advantage of when the pigs trick her into thinking that she's mistaken.
There's also Moses, a raven who spreads stories of Sugar Candy Mountain. He represents religion and how it is used to comfort the oppressed. Sugar Candy Mountain represents the idea of heaven. Old Major is a big part as well.
Old Major represents both Marx and Lenin, the fathers of communism. They begin this ideology that looks great on paper. However, when actually put into action, it causes more harm than good. Old Major was revolutionary for the animals.
Now what about Stalin and Trotsky? You can't bash communism without including Stalin and Trotsky.
Yes, of course. Napoleon and Snowball are the two pigs who represent them. Napoleon is a ruthless and power-hungry leader that is not bothered by seeing his people suffer. He is protected by a group of ferocious dogs, just like Stalin had his secret police, the NKVD, to enforce his rulings. Snowball had pride in his people and looked out for what was best for each and every one of them. He was eventually killed and exiled by Napoleon or Stalin's forces.
Such a shame. Trotsky really did have a plan for Russia, if only he hadn't lost power.
There was another pig, too.
Squealer is a fat pig who represents the communist Soviet propaganda that would manipulate people in Russia without most of them even noticing. In the book, he goes on rounds telling the animals how great Napoleon was and bending the rules in order to condone his actions. The animals had no other choice than to believe him.
Wait, where is this all happening in the story? What's the setting?
The story takes place on Manor Farm.
Manor Farm is a farm somewhere in England that was originally owned by Mr. Jones, but taken over by the animals, obviously. It is the only location mentioned besides Pinchfield and Foxwood, two rivaling farms.
Well, it looks like I have all the information I need to make my decision. I understand that your book is controversial, but I honestly think this is just what the world needs right now. Many around us will think we're insane, but let's do it. George Orwell, consider yourself a published author. I'm so happy to work with you on this monumental piece of literature.
This is for the mustache. This half is for the hair, so you can slick it back. Casual, formal. Casual, formal.
Listen. Listen. Book so controversial that he's been denied by every publisher.
You almost made it, Brianna!
Please have a